Let our joy be so triumphant. We rest in God. Say, we rest in God. Say, amen.
Welcome all of you to Unity North Spiritual Center here in Coon Rapids, Minnesota. Welcome to our in-person folks and also those of you all who are online today. I think numbers stayed online so because of the cold today, but we're glad you're all here, especially since it's our White Stone ceremony today. So Unity North is an inclusive community. We welcome and accept all people. So whoever you are, wherever you are on your spiritual path, you're welcome at Unity. And we're also part of a greater worldwide Unity movement. We are the publishers of the Daily Word magazine, and we've been holding 133 years of prayer vigil through Silent Unity, the prayer ministry of the Unity movement. So prayer is the foundation, the heart and soul of Unity. And we do have a prayer chaplain to pray with everyone after service today, as always. And today it is Rebecca from Redondo Beach. And there she is, she's waving. So Rebecca, we're so happy you're here to help in that way. And her phone number will is showing up on the chat. You can see it now. Will also be at an announcement. It's a little larger so you can see more easily. And you can give her a call right after we end our Zoom call today, after service. And she's happy to pray with you for any reason whatsoever, or just if you want to just join together in that feeling of prayer. All right. So with that, our producers today are Tracy Roloff and Martha Burkhardt. Welcome. And our worship assistant is Wendy Erickson. And today, our musician is Bill Mann. Welcome back, as always. And before we sing our opening song, we'll recite our vision and mission statements. And our vision is our ideal future reality. So let's speak that together. Centered in prayer, we create for all a world of love, harmony, and abundance. And our mission is what we are in the business of doing, how we create our vision. So together, celebrating spirit, exploring truths, awakening hearts, inspiring dreams, serving community. As you can see, our values at the bottom, those are the foundational beliefs that we hold here at Unity North. And with that, I invite you to stand for our opening song.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found, was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught my heart to love, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did grace then appear, bright shining as the sun. We've no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that touched a soul like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see.
Thank you, Bill, as always, for your music. Good morning to everyone. I'm Wendy Erickson, your worship assistant today. And this is the time in our service when we greet one another. So if you're on Zoom, please turn on your cameras if you're able. We're kind of implying that you're dressed appropriately. Um, and I can see people waving, yes. Who is joining us for the first time on Zoom? Can you wave and unmute yourself and let us know where you're from? I think we might have all old timers, as we say. I'm not seeing anybody unmute. All right. Now, if you're in the sanctuary and new, can you please wave and also let us know? I will repeat where you are from. If you have somebody new, hi. Where are you from? Around this area? Okay, wonderful. And your name? Hi, Doug. Thank you. Doug lives here in the city, and he's here for the first time, so we're very excited. Thank you for being here. Okay, all right. You looked a little familiar, but I wasn't sure. My mind might have been playing tricks. Thank you for joining us. All right, and for those in the sanctuary here, if you want, turn around and wave. We got folks up there that would love to see you. I'm sorry. I didn't see you wave your, we've got another person that's new. I'm sorry, I didn't see your hand up. Okay. Wanda, you're in Ramsey, right?
Martha.
Oh, Martha. Oh, you've attended, oh, thank you. Well, thank you for coming in person, and she's from Ramsey, which is a little suburb up here. Thank you. So, wonderful. It's a delight to have all of you here today. Thank you. And now at this time, we're going to take a moment for prayer requests. But first, let's take a moment to center ourselves. And that centering, it did start when we were greeting each other. We're acknowledging our presence here, and we're together here for a reason and a purpose. So let's continue that centering with some long and full breaths. Bring peace and love and joy within yourself. And know that as you exhale, you're releasing stress, worry, and fear. And so just take a couple of those breaths. Instead of saying our requests out loud, we invite you to speak a name or a prayer request silently. And we're going to hold these requests in silence. So let's take a long, full breath, holding your requests. And with another long and full breath, we give thanks in advance for answered prayer. And we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen. Let us remain centered and still as I read our daily word. Today's daily word for January 8th, 2023 is freedom. The divine presence within guides me to freedom. At times, I may feel hemmed in by circumstances, limited by lack of opportunity, or faced with an unwelcome situation and no good choice. When that happens, I may feel anything but free. Rather than despair, I find my freedom in God and the limitless expression of my divinity, shifting my perspective from the limits of the world to the expanse and perfection of spirit. Peace fills me. I relax and remember that no earthly trouble is greater or more enduring than God. I claim the power of God and feel a strength beyond mere human strength. As moment by moment, I release limiting beliefs and reclaim the power I had given to my problems. Spirit lives in me and as me. This truth is my freedom. From 2 Corinthians chapter 3, verse 17. Now the Lord is the Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Today's daily word from January 8th is freedom. The divine presence within guides me to freedom. And now Bill will lead us in music to prepare for our meditation.
I close my eyes, feeling stars. I still my mind, open my heart, and spirit come with its blessing way, touching me deep with a song it plays, feet on the ground. I spread my wings, my heart takes flight, creation sings with all that is. I am one, revealed as soul. When spirit comes, awake as soul. When spirit comes.
So for those of you who are here in person, if you do not have a white stone or marker, I just invite you to raise your hand and Mary will bring you one. Everybody good? All right. And now for everyone, I invite you to hold your white stone and have your marker nearby through the meditation. But you don't need to write anything yet. And if you're on Zoom with us, if you have not received a holiday packet from us with the white stone and marker, have a piece of paper nearby to write on, and then you can later transfer it to something special. So now everyone just sit back and close your eyes if you've not already, and allow yourself to relax. Take several deep breaths. Then just feel a wave of relaxation move through your body. Know that you are calm, serene, and fully relaxed. The month of January is traditionally the time to take stock of where we've been and where we're going. The month, we are told, is named after Janus, the Roman god with two faces looking in opposite directions, one toward the past and one toward the future. As we reflect upon our personal past, we affirm our desire to release anything that continues to hold us in bondage. As we look toward the future, we focus on our vision, our dream, and we remember that peace is the way, love is the way, faith is the way. We each have the power to overcome and begin anew, because within us we have the divine calling us forth into a new beginning, calling us forth to express our true potential, to realize our dreams. There's a passage from Revelations 2:17 that says, "He who has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says. I will also give him a white stone with a new name written on it, known only to him who receives it." As you hold your white stone today, know that it's quarried from the hills near Jerusalem. A particular company has been making these stones available to Unity churches for many years, and most churches throughout the Unity movement order them for this ceremony and join with us today in experiencing it. In Unity, we teach Jerusalem means habitation of peace. It is the place of peace within us where we meet with God. White represents a consciousness that has been purified. And God will give a new name, a new consciousness as we turn within to this place of peace. In biblical times, to those who overcame, who moved forward with faith in the challenges that life presented them, Scripture reports they were given a new name. And today we will meditate on our new name, which is not actually a name, but a one or two word theme for the coming year. Perhaps the name or theme is faith, or love, or joy, maybe torchbearer, fulfilling purpose, or whatever comes to us. By listening for the still small voice within to tell us, we step up into a new consciousness. Today's Spirit is calling us to rise up out of whatever may be holding us back, to fully commit to expressing all that we are. We free ourselves to live more fully, releasing ourselves from the bondage, the prison of limiting thoughts about ourselves, each other, and our world. The custom in the ancient days when a prisoner was released from prison or bondage was to give him or her a white stone to take with them to show that they were free. Only people who were freed would be given the white stone. And if we are online and you do not have a white stone today, just envision what I'm saying to those who do. Symbolically see that the stone you hold in your hand now represents your freedom. Feel the smooth stone with your hand and know it represents release from old ways of thinking, old conflicts, any limiting ways of expressing your creative life force and spirit. Let us release the old and rename ourselves. as we begin a new era of creating and participating in our own life more consciously. The Spirit of God within us now removes lack and limitation, compulsive habits and behaviors that have held us captive. The Spirit of God within us now removes old images and beliefs about our health and well-being, and any fears that keep us from inner peace. So take these words in silently as your own. I am free. I have a clean slate. I choose to begin again. This is a new beginning, a new day, a new opportunity. I have unlimited potential to fulfill my dreams. So begin to now reflect on a new name, a word or words that are the essence of your soul desire for this year. Let it come to you easily without trying to make it happen. Let a name, a word or two come that marks your theme for the year, your new beginning. But do not write your word yet. Imagine or feel this stone in your hand. Hear it beckon to you. Hear or simply know what Spirit has decreed for you to write on the stone. What will your theme be called this year? Is it a name, a title? Does it begin with I am? Is it peace or wholeness or love? What is your true name for this year? And now, take time in the silence to let it come forth. And just stay in the silence until I invite you back to write your word. And now I invite you to remain in the meditative state and open your eyes and write your new name on this white stone. A thankfulness flows over us as we receive our words for this year. We know along with it comes the power and guidance to achieve all that we desire. This is our new theme. We see it, we desire it. We move into life with greater insight and awareness, marking a new beginning. And it was said, I will change your name. You shall no longer be called wounded, outcast, lonely, or afraid. I will change your name. Your new name shall be confidence, joyfulness, overcoming one, faithfulness, friend of God, one who seeks my presence. And so for this we say, thank you, God. And so it is. Amen.
When I wake up in the morning, I'm beginning to say thank you for the things I took for granted for so long. These blessings in my life, or I'd hardly notice them, and yet they were always there for me in every moment of my day. Help me on my way. It's such a simple attitude. Live your life with gratitude. And so many times I've lost my way. When I looked around and I did not have a clue, I was feeling all alone and too far from my home and caught up in some narrow point of view. But whenever I remembered and I called on you, you always helped me understand. And you gently show the way, so I'd like to say I'm grateful for your guiding hand. It's such a simple attitude to live your life with gratitude. And there's so much love in my life. When I open up my heart and let it in, through the loneliness and tears, through the facing of my fears, I found that love is always here within. And the choice is always mine to make, though I did not see it clear. And now where I go, I am grateful just to know that love is always here. It's such a simple attitude to live your life with gratitude. So many gifts have come my way. Think that I remember to be grateful every day. But it's so easy to forget all the blessings that have come to plant their seed. When the grass appears so green beyond the fence, stands between what I have and what I think I need. Yes, we're so quick to take for granted all the little things till we realize the blessing that they bring. For with each and every one I've flown closer to the sun, and I'm grateful for those wings. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm learning to say thank you for the things that I took for granted for so long. These blessings in my life, before I'd hardly noticed them, and yet they were always there for me in every moment of my day to help me on my way. It's such a simple attitude to live your life with gratitude. Yes, it's such a simple attitude to live your life with gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill. What a beautiful song. Well, I remember one year I received the word grace on my white stone. And that year, everything worked out just in amazing ways. Had a lot of things happen, but everything worked out. I remember another year I had written fun adventure, and I ended up having an unexpected once-in-a-lifetime trip to Egypt with a friend, Becky, and that trip was right after the revolution. And so because of that, and they hadn't had tourists there, they had upgraded everything and there were no lines anywhere. So it was an amazing trip, fun adventure. It was at the top of my bucket list too. So then last year, I was given words on for both sides of the stone. And I had, one side was magical. The other side was joyful surprises. And many of you know my friend Becky, Rebecca, who actually she's with us online today. She's waving. We've been friends for 47 years, and she was in Texas online with us at the time. And but her son, she ended up moving to North Minneapolis, and her son helped her. So he spent a month looking for the perfect one bedroom with all the boxes checked that they needed, and couldn't find anything. It took a month. And then finally he was just about to sign the lease and got a call back from my apartment complex, which has multiple buildings. And just unbeknownst to us, he signed the lease, and the apartment ended up, as many of you know, right across the hall. So that was a joyful surprise, and it was magical. And actually, we're still kind of recovering from from that. So were any of you surprised by the word or word that you received in your meditation today? I'm seeing a few nods, yes. Yeah, that often happens where you'll have it set in your mind ahead what you think you want, something completely different comes in. So I find it very fascinating. But I have a few more words I want to talk with you about today that relate to our vision as we look forward into the future. Just see the word or words that came on your white stone as the theme for the year, that which informs your year, so to speak. But then Unity Headquarters has designated 2023 as a year of grace and gratitude. And so we've adopted that theme here with specific monthly themes also throughout the year as well. January is grace, but I'm speaking today of grace and gratitude since it's the beginning of the whole year. So think about, having your personal word guide and inform you, but having grace and gratitude as the collective words that are ours that underpin your year, or that seem to have an undertone, I should say. So you could write grace and gratitude on the sides if you wanted, or just keep it in your mind. So there does not seem to be a set of rules for the concept of grace. We call it mysterious or elusive because we do not understand it. Perhaps it's that unknown part of God's law. The law of cause and effect, or karma, is easier to comprehend. Touch a hot stove and you get burned. Experience or be kind to someone and experience kindness returning to you from in some way. Well, grace seems to go beyond. In essence, it's God's goodness given to us in greater proportion than we give of ourselves to God. It's the Father rushing out to meet the prodigal son as he returns home. We do not have to go the full distance for God, for the divine, for the universe to rush out to meet us. We only need to be headed in the general direction. And it can still happen even when we are utterly lost. That's when grace becomes a type of redemption, and we could call it our safety net. You know, I love the song Amazing Grace. Thank you for doing that today. And the story of John Newton, the songwriter, is rather amazing. He was born in London on July 24th, 1725. He was the son of a commander of a merchant ship that sailed the Mediterranean. And when John was 11 years old, he went on his first sea voyage with his father. And he took 6 of those voyages before his father retired when he was 19. And then John was impressed into service on a man of war, the HMS Harwich, but finding the conditions absolutely intolerable, he deserted. But he was caught and he was flogged publicly and demoted to common seaman. Well, then finally at his request, he was exchanged and ended up on a slave ship going to Africa. And on that ship, as he got to Africa, he became the servant of a slave trader, and he was cruelly abused. And this went on for some years. And finally, at age 23, a sea captain who had known his father rescued him and took him back to England. And ultimately, he became the captain of his own ship. And during a violent storm, he experienced what he later referred to as his great deliverance. He recorded this in his journal. When all seemed lost and the ship would surely sink, he exclaimed, "Lord, have mercy upon us." And later he reflected on the feeling that God had addressed him about his life through the storm and that grace had descended upon him. So for the rest of his life, he observed the anniversary of May 10th, 1748, as the day of his conversion, in which he subjected his will to a higher power. Well, later, he became a minister. And it was during this time that he wrote his famous hymn, Amazing Grace. And the second line, the way it was written, says, "Saved a wretch like me." And of course, the Unity hymnal says, "Saved a soul like me." We took liberties and made a change because we prefer to think of ourselves as, we believe actually in original blessing rather than being born in original sin. So we think of ourselves as blessed rather than as blessings, and blessed rather than sinners. And you know, the idea, we don't think of ourselves as being wretches or wretched, but rather children of God who are heirs to all of the blessings of the universe. And so that's a whole different way of holding it. And the song Amazing Grace has brought many grace-filled experiences to a number of people. And here's one story about that. Drink first. So a man writes, as a bagpiper, I play many gigs. And recently I was asked by a funeral director to play at a graveside service for a homeless man. He had no family or friends, so the service was to be at a pauper cemetery in the Kentucky back country. As I was not familiar with the backwoods, I got lost. And being a typical man, I did not stop for directions. I finally arrived an hour late and saw the funeral guy had evidently gone and the hearse was nowhere in sight. There were only the diggers and crew left and they were eating lunch. I felt bad and apologized to the men for being late. I went to the side of the grave and looked down and the vault lid was already in place. I didn't know what else to do, so I started to play. The workers put down their lunches and began to gather around. I played out my heart and soul for this man with no family and no friends. I played like I've never played before for this homeless man. And as I played Amazing Grace, the workers began to weep. They wept, I wept, we all wept together. And when I finished, I packed up my bagpipes and started for my car. Though my head hung low, my heart was full. As I was opening the door to my car, I heard one of the workers say, "Sweet Mother of Jesus, I never seen nothing like that before, and I've been putting in septic tanks for over 20 years. Well, there are those times when we experience a sense of redemption, of change, or transformation, and that is through the power of grace. No matter the possibilities or the uncertainties we encounter in each month of 2023, we'll have opportunities to acknowledge the grace in our lives and to hold an attitude of gratitude in any circumstance. Let us make that our intention, in fact, to acknowledge the grace in our lives and to hold an attitude of gratitude this year. You know, another story that conveys redemption through the power of grace is Les Miserables. You may have read the book, seen the movie, or watched the play. I was very happy, lucky to see it on Broadway my one time in New York City some years back. And it was incredible. But to summarize, Jean-Paul stole a loaf of bread to save his starving family, and he was arrested and sent to prison for 20 years. And he became there a hardened criminal. And one night he escaped and he made his way to the home of a priest where he received shelter for the night. And during the night, he stole the silverware and some very expensive candelabras that were silver, and he fled into the night. But the authorities caught him and brought him back to the home of the priest. And the priest told the authorities to leave because he told them that he in fact had given these to Jean-Paul as a gift. Well, Jean-Paul was completely stunned because no one had shown him that kind of kindness for many years. And so the priest looked deep into his eyes and said, "Take this gift and take that kindness and share it with others. The kindness that I've shown you, share it with others and make something of your life." And with those words, Jean-Paul's life was completely transformed through the power of grace. You know, he still had to deal with the effects of causes he had previously set into motion, but grace and love did prevail. Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all who labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your souls. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light." Another version might say it this way: are you tired, worn out, burned out? Come to me. Get away with me, and you will recover your life. I will show you how to take a real rest. Walk with me and work with me. Watch how I do it. Learn the rhythms of grace. I won't lay anything heavy or ill-fitting on you. Keep company with me, and you will learn to live freely and lightly. Sound appealing? Does to me. And we do not have to strain for God's grace. It's a willing gift that we don't need to beg or plead for or work for. It's an easy thing, grace, the freely given, unmerited favor and love of God. It is our safety net. The Persian poet Hafiz wrote, "Even after all this time, the sun never says to the earth, 'You owe me.' Look what happens with a love like that. It lights up the whole sky." Well, gratitude works hand in hand with grace. You know, it becomes easy when we step back and we notice the flow of grace in our lives. Grace is always expressing, always available. Once we notice and accept it, and gratitude then just follows naturally. Gratitude is more than just saying thanks for our good. It's a dynamic spiritual tool that can help us create the lives we want. Unity co-founder Charles Fillmore said, "It's been found by experience that a person increases his blessings by being grateful for them. Gratitude actually increases our abundance." The great German mystic Meister Eckhart said, "If the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it will be enough." Grace is a gift of love, and our task is to learn to receive it. And gratitude is life's magnet. It truly is a miraculous force, a living energy, like a magical magnet generating and then attracting so much more than we've already received. Jesus was an example of this. You know, it's told he was able to provide enough food to feed 5,000 men plus women and children, so perhaps 10,000 people, when there were only 2 fish and 5 loaves of bread. So in the story of his great demonstration, we're told he blessed the loaves, he gave thanks in advance. His faith was so great, and his outer vision only perceived 2 fish and 5 loaves, but his insight, his inner vision, told him already the demonstration was complete. You know, we don't really know what happened that day, but we know the story told could definitely be possible. Indian yogis in this day and age have shown the ability to call forth something tangible from the invisible field and manifest it instantaneously. In any case, some sort of miracle occurred, and that is the magic of gratitude. When we give thanks in advance, we activate the divine flow, and the universe responds with even greater blessings, even greater grace. The more we give thanks, the more we praise, the universe just keeps on giving. Speaking of giving, there's a great story about Mark Twain. You may remember this. He told of a time that he was in church, and this inspirational speaker had come to talk about poor people in Africa and how they could be helped. And so as Twain's listening to this inspirational speaker, after 10 minutes, he decided he was going to give $20 to the project. And then after 20 minutes, he was at $50. He was just feeling the inspiration. And finally, after 30 minutes, he knew he was going to give $100 when they passed that basket. He was just lit on fire with passion. And then the man kept going, and he went on and on and on. And after 90 minutes, Twain said, when they finally passed the basket, he said, I stole $20. Well, sometimes when we are patient, we discover gratitude is one of the most passionate transformative forces in the cosmos. It comes from love, and it's the natural expression of a loving heart. When we send out gratitude, it's a magnet for unimaginable good. Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, remember, she regained her health through that method. She ended up blessing all of the cells and organs of her body, sent gratitude, words of life and strength to all of her organs. Over a 2-year process, she was healed. She talked to the intelligence in her cells and gave thanks for them as well. So it was an amazing healing. We can try thanking our cells regularly and see how eagerly they respond with increased help. Grace often shows up through synchronicity and small miracles. And I love this story about Taylor Caldwell. She was a best-selling author in the 50s and 60s. You may remember reading her. She had a wonderful marriage. She had a devoted husband, and it was a long and wonderful marriage. And he preceded her in death, and he had a protracted illness, so they were able to prepare for his leaving. But at the end, as he was dying, she clutched his hand and she said, please, if there's life after death, give me a sign, bring me a sign so that I can know you're with me and I can go on. And he nodded and she said, promise me. And he said, I promise. And that was his pledge to her, and he died. And the next day, she was so filled with grief that she stepped outside into her garden to find solace from nature, as she often did. And she just cried out to him, if you could only send me a sign, I can go on. My pain is so wrenching and my grief is so strong. I don't know how I'm going to survive. I need to know you're with me. And as she walked into the garden further, she came to this part of the garden where the earth had been just stubbornly unfertile for many years. And her gaze swept that area and she gasped. In the middle of that area was a rosemary bush. And she had actually seen it the day before when she'd been on a walk out there. And she had felt sad looking at it, thinking that in 30 years, it had never flourished. It had never grown or bloomed. And now today, it was inexplicably in full bloom. And she just said, thank you. As she took it in, took her a moment to just take in the meaning and the knowing that this was her sign. And some years later, she told reporters who interviewed her, she said, I knew that was the sign I was supposed to receive. And she said also, rosemary means remembrance. So a beautiful story of grace and gratitude. John 1:16 says, from his fullness we have all received grace upon grace. So when thoughts and feelings are synchronized and going in the same direction, and we're focusing on a vision of what we want to see, we are wielding a powerful life-transforming tool. And then we experience the fulfillment of the law, which is love in action, the expression of grace. We open ourselves to its power. And it saves us from the negative effects we may have set into motion. It's the power to dissolve hate, dissolve resistance, obstinacy, anger, pain, disease, and lack. It's the loving presence of the Christ within each one of us. Ramakrishna said, the winds of grace are always blowing, but you have to raise the sail. The gifts move across the waters. We can't control or earn them, but we must be willing to receive them. You know, I believe that gratitude helps us to raise the sail that catches the winds of grace. So let us invoke God's love in action, the power of grace, through our loving thoughts and words and actions, and release that which blocks its expression in our lives. And let us be willing to receive the good that comes and then feel gratitude for it. A state of mind that sees God in everything is evidence of growth in grace and a thankful heart. So let this be the goal for our own lives and for this spiritual community, activating the power of love and grace and gratitude, setting God's unconditional love into motion for the good of all. I am now willing to receive the gifts of grace and gratitude. Let's say that together. I am now willing to receive the gifts of grace and gratitude. So whatever word or words came to you today to write on your white stone, I invite you to hold the vision with me. That is your theme, that which informs your year, and then to collectively call forth both grace and gratitude in addition to our more personal word. That can certainly add to the power of an amazing year ahead. Thank you. God bless you.
I am as free as a bird on the wing, soaring high above the clouds. I know the joy true surrender brings, when my heart is open wide to allow. When the love comes pouring in, all I need is to let it go, let it flow. I do the best I can to give it back into the world, each and every pearl. It's all according to God's plan. This is who I am. This is who I am. It's who I am. This is who I am. Sometimes I struggle just to find a way to find my way back home. I can't even find a clue. Circle around and round and round. It's all a part of this never-ending journey back to you. When the fear comes rolling in, I must remember it's only passing through. Though sometimes I still forget, but there's always someone there to remind me who I am and why I'm here. No, I'm not quitting yet. This is who I am. 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 feel you near me, I know you see me, walking this path on my own. You're always with me, here to remind me I am never alone. Now I live my life one moment at a time, past and future just a memory and a dream. Along this high road, love lightens my load. I'm grateful for every blessing seen. When the truth comes rushing in, all I know is to surrender my resistance. Let my illusions slip away. And as I open up my eyes to the freedom here inside, let me remember every day that this is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I am.
Thank you, Bill. That is a wonderful song. Very inspiring. It is time now to bless our offerings. Since we aren't collecting them live, we invite you to go to our website, which you now see on the screen, unitynorthmn.org, and find the donation button on the homepage and give your offering there. If you are here in our building, you can leave your offering in the basket by the door on your way out of the sanctuary. And if you prefer to mail a check, you can send it to our address, also on the website. Now let us speak our offering blessing. Join me. Divine love flowing through me now blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. And Bill will lead us in an offering song.
My gift goes forth on the wings of love, and it lands where it can heal and bless. It returns to me, multiplied 1,000-fold, and the universe says yes, yes, and the universe says yes.
Thank you. And now for our community news. On Friday, January 13th, that's coming up this Friday, we have the 12 Power service, which will be on Zoom. It'll be with Reverend Kathy and Rhonda Italiano, who is our licensed Unity teacher. And it'll be awesome, 7 p.m. Central Time, so please join us. Wednesday, January 18th, Practicing Mindfulness. It's a one-night class. That's with Reverend Kathy from 7 to 9 p.m. Central, so make sure you come for that. That'd be really good. And on Wednesday, January 25th, a week after that, we are starting the Metaphysics A to Z. I love metaphysics. It makes the Bible so logical. And this is a 5-week class with Rhonda Italiano. I have taken some from her in the past. I recommend it. It's always good to have a refresher. 7 to 9 p.m. Wednesday the 25th for 5 weeks. And then January 29th, it's game day for all. This is Sunday. So right after our service, we're having adults and kids of all ages. They got a hot dog lunch happening, or you can bring your own. Join the fun. They're going to be doing board games, cards, etc. from 11:30, which is right after service, to 2:30 p.m. And today, our prayer chaplain is Rebecca Thompson, and she is at 424-400-9011. Thank you.
And now we have an affirmation that we've been speaking, and took it out for the holidays because we had to shorten the services, but we're putting it back in today. So let's speak this together. Centered in prayerful intention, we give thanks for an overflowing abundance, spiritual awakening, prosperity, new members and children for Unity North Spiritual Center. And so it is. And now I invite you to stand for our prayer for protection and our peace song. And before we start it, I just want to say thank you today to our producers, Tracy and Martha, to Wendy as our worship assistant, and to Bill Mann for doing our music today. All right. So let's say our prayer together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Now we'll join in our peace song.
This be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so this is an opportunity to connect with our virtual people. As we go to the next slide, well, there we go. All right. So, so we can hear ourselves before we start all talking here. Is there anybody online who has anything to share? Well, seeing your beautiful faces. If anybody else wants to turn your camera on. All right. Nice group today, yeah. All right. Well, we have a quiet group online. See, we have one of our four-legged friends with us. Wanda's little baby there. Okay, well, blessings, everybody. Hope you have a wonderful week. And for those of you who are live, please join us in our friendship hall right after service. All right. Thank you all. Have a wonderful week. Well, thank you.